Today we have this BMW 2010. It is a 335 with the N54 engine. It's the last generation of N54 engines, and then after this one the N55 came. But the purpose of this video is to show you how to do the oil change. In general, N54s and N55s oil change similar. Even the newer S55s like M3s and 4, even the B58s still kind of similar, but nevertheless we're gonna show you how to do the oil change on a M54 engine. This oil change process is going to be similar from 2007 to 2010. That's the range of the BMW M54 engines. It doesn't matter what kind of vehicle you have. You can have 5 Series, X5 or 3 Series or X3 as well. They have the same straight 6 engine, which is the twin turbo N54. So without mind, let's start with the oil change. So to do the oil change, all you need is a tool to remove the oil filter cap and a 17mm wrench. That's all for the N54s, nothing else. Something to grab it from top. It's pretty easy to do it. This is a STP oil filter. You can get it in any AutoZone, but if you want originals, you can buy on Amazon or you can go to the dealer. And we have the oil over here. In this case, we're gonna be using Mobil 1. For some of you are going to say that Mobil 1 is no longer the oil that BMW recommends, but it is an oil, engine oil anyway. But back in the days, BMW used to recommend these ones still, even for these N54 engines. So it's gonna work well. It won't do any damage to the engine. It is just then. It is not recommended anymore. But let's start with the oil change. So the first step we're gonna do is to remove the oil filter from here, because there is oil in this area in the oil filter housing, so that oil has to go down where the oil pan is. So we're gonna get it loose, move it completely and drain the oil. So just open it carefully so the oil goes all the way down instead of going around. And now we have to go under the vehicle to do the rest, which is remove the drain plug. So the oil drain plug is located right here. This is the oil drain plug. This is the oil pan. It is right behind the cross member here. So all we have to do is to remove the drain plug, get it loose, freeze with the 17mm wrench, and then we can remove it. Alright, so now we're just gonna wait until it gets completely drained. So now it's time to place the plug back. So that's pretty easy. All we have to do is like get it back where it was and tighten it. That's a pretty easy process. Just make sure that whenever you're doing this process, don't over tighten it, because later it can damage the thread of the oil pan, and it's going to be super expensive to fix that. Just make sure to tighten it around like 25 pounds, something like that, or less than that if it's possible, to prevent problems. Alright, let me tighten it right now. That'll be all. Yeah, that will be enough. Right, so now after doing all underneath the vehicle, we are back to the top, so we can replace the oil filter. Now it's completely drained. Here we have the oil filter. It's pretty easy to remove. All you have to do is to pull it to the opposite side and will come off. Just be careful, because there is some oil sometimes and we can split on your face. And I noticed that it was super hard to remove this filter, because the reason is that this filter hasn't been replaced in a while. It is disappointing, because that's not the way you have to treat a BMW. It's the reason why many people destroy BMWs, or they think that they are unreliable because they don't follow the protocol to do the proper repairs and maintaining the BMW, which is very important. And as you can see over here, there is so much stuff there. See, that's a lot of stuff. This is stuck inside the filter. And that's how I know that this filter hasn't been replaced for a while. And also you can see the marks of the little net inside the little housing. You can see all the marks there because this filter hasn't been replaced in a long period of time. That's pretty disappointing, but we are fixing that today. But don't let that happen to your BMW, otherwise you will destroy it and then it's gonna be super expensive to repair it. I'm pretty sure you know already. We have the oil, I mean the filter removed, the oil filter, and all we have to do is to remove this o-ring over here and this other o-ring over here, so we have the housing ready for the new filter installation. O-rings were removed, you can see, and in here in the new oil filter we have the o-rings that we need for the new oil filter to the installation. So we have the o-ring, the main o-ring for the cap, and we have this little one over here. Then it's really hard to grab. Right here, this little one, this is for the top over here, very important, don't forget it because that one is very important. And this one over here, this is a crusher washer. This is a washer that you're gonna use to put on the drain plug. In this case I already had a new one, that's the reason why I installed the freeze, but if you don't, you have to be sure to grab this one freeze and then install it on the drain plug. So we're just gonna install the o-rings over here. Installing it is easier than removing them, so just gonna install them. They look cooler because they're red, as you can see now. So it's time to install the oil filter. In this case the oil filter has no direction, it is similar weights, so all you have to do is to choose a weight, how to install it, and put it on here, just like get it all the way until it gets to the bottom of it. See, and now it's ready for installation. It looks clean, it looks better, the housing is clean, as you can see. All you have to make sure that there is nothing over there then can cause any problems with the oil system. So with that in mind, we can just install the oil filter, pretty easy. That should be enough. That's around like 15-20 pounds of torque. It should be enough for this. Of course you can follow the manufacturer's specifications that are here, so it's up to you. Don't make sure to don't over tighten. So we have the oil filter replaced, the oil drained, and that means then the oil change is almost done. The last thing to do is to add the oil. Pretty much we're gonna need around 6 quarts of oil for this engine, so let's add the oil. Alright, so after adding the oil, the last thing to do is to start the engine. It's pretty simple. So let's start this engine. The first thing, as soon as you start the engine, you have to make sure that there is no oil pressure warnings on the dashboard. So let's start it up. No oil pressure warnings, that's good. So let's go out where the engine is to check stuff there too. Over here all we have to do is make sure that there is no leaks, especially from the oil filter around and underneath from the drain plug. No, there is no leaks. So that's pretty much all. Let the engine warm for a bit and then we wanna go check the oil level. So let's check the oil level. This car doesn't have the i.e., and if you have the i.e. on your BMW, it will be easier to check the oil, but on these ones you have to use the dashboard actually to look for the oil level. So all we have to do is like use these arrows over here to go down until we see this sign over here that looks like oil. See this one, oil, and then you press the VC button over here. There's a VC button, we just press it once and there the oil level appears. It says they need a little bit more, so it should be good. So now we just have to turn it off and add some oil, or we can do it with the engine running still with the oil. And this is all you have to know about the oil change on a BMW N54 engine. This is pretty easy to do. This oil change process is pretty easy. Almost all the Strike 6 engines are pretty easy to do, BMW engines. The difficulty is how low the car is going to be, so that's how you have to play with that, depending. If you have ramps, it will be hard. If you have a lift, a car lift will be easier.